here is the fifth problem on our extra transformations review sheet. So this is the last one where we only have translations and reflections. Starting with the next example, we're also going to have some stretches and some compressions. Okay, so here we go. We've got the same list of instructions. We're going to start by indicating the basic function. So you'll notice that here we're taking a square root, which tells us that our basic function is the square root of x. Okay, now listing the transformations. As always, take a second while I'm writing the word transformations to think about what do we have going on here. Pause the video if you need to. Well, we have this minus 2 on the inside. That's going to be a shift to the right or left. We have this minus on the outside. That's going to be a reflection. And we have this 1 getting added on to the outside. That's going to be a shift up or down. Rule of thumb, we do reflections first. No real reason, but that's just how we've organized our thinking about this. So let's do that first. As always, you can't just say it's a reflection, you have to say in what. So we're reflecting in the x-axis here because the minus is on the outside of our operator, the square root. I want to go ahead and start the coordinate analysis right at the beginning like I have so far. So if I'm starting with a random point xy, the reflection in the x-axis does not impact the x-coordinate, but since we're getting flipped over the x-coordinate, our y-coordinate is made opposite. Next, we've got 2 shifts. Either one you want to do first is fine. So let's go ahead and do the shift up first. How many units are we shifting? Well, we're talking about this guy here, so that's a shift up 1 unit. So again, we started at x negative y. The shift up does not impact the x-coordinate. It adds 1 to our y-coordinate. So we have negative y plus 1 as our y-coordinate. Probably a little neater to write it as 1 minus y, so we'll do that in the next step. Third transformation. So now we're talking about this minus 2 on the inside. So that's a shift, say it with me, right 2 units. Okay, so again, we're starting at x comma negative y plus 1, but I'm writing it as x comma 1 minus y because it's a little neater. And then a shift to the right is going to leave my y-coordinate as it was, but it's going to add 2 to my to my x-coordinate. And that's it. That is the last transformation. So this is the final destination of my point. So as I've done before, we started at some point xy, and then we wound our way through the transformations. And this is where we ended up. Okay? Good. So now we're ready for graphing. So we're going to start with the axes as always. Here is our y-axis. Make it nice and vertical. Oops. Okay, good enough. Sometimes you have to just decide you're not going to fight it. So here is our x-axis. Here is our y-axis. Again, we've already graphed the square root. So we know that it passes through the origin, the point 1, 1, and the point 4, 2. And as I said the last time we used it, if you want to also use the point 9, 3, by all means. But just to save a little time, I won't do it this time. So again, the points we're working with on F are the origin, 1, 1, and 4, 2. To save a little time, I won't label them on the graph. You should, if that is helpful to you. I'm just going to label them in my transformations chart. So these are my xy's. So now for my transformed function g, remember xy morphs into x plus 2, 1 minus y. So for each of these points, I'm going to plug in for x, and I'm going to plug in for y. So let's see what we get. If x is 0 and y is 0, then x plus 2, 1 minus y becomes 2, 1. If both x and y are 1, x plus 2 becomes 3, 1 minus y becomes 0. If x is 4 and y is 2, then x plus 2 is 6, 1 minus y is negative 1. Okay, so let's plot these. So 0, 0 goes to 2, 1. 1, 1 goes to 3, 0, and 4, 2 goes to 6, negative 1. And here is our shape. So again, as always, you're expecting exactly the same shape as before. But observe the transformations. We see the reflection in the x-axis, We see the shift up and we see the shift to the right. So take that moment at the end to actually kind of ground yourself and check in to make sure you see all of the transformations you said would be there. As always, we've indicated the basic function, we have listed the transformations, we've performed the coordinate analysis, and we've graphed both the original and the transformed function. This completes number 5, 3 more to go.